Hello and welcome back to 1111 Piano Studio, or welcome if you've never been here before. This is the start of a series I will be doing, walking you through all of the basics you need to learn to start playing piano. This series will be kind of based off of this book. So this is the Alfred's Adult All-in-One book. This is the level 1 book, so it's starting right at the very beginning. Now, I would not recommend this if you are under like 13, 14, because it is going to move pretty quickly compared to how I would start a younger kid. But if you are in your teen years or you're an adult, this is a really great book. I really love how it introduces everything. I love the songs in it. So this is a really great book. If you want to follow along this series with practicing this book, I will be including in each video the page numbers that go with that video. So for example, today we will be covering pages 4 to 19. So I'm going to go over everything that you're going to see throughout these pages and everything you'll need to know to be able to properly practice these pages. I'm not going to be actually showing them here, so if you do want to follow along, the link to the book is in my link tree and you can purchase it. Now, you do not have to follow along these videos with this book. You can just use them as a lesson video and then go find your own material to practice if you'd prefer that. But they will be kind of going in order of how the book introduces everything. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I will also be linking in the iCard and the description below additional videos that I have made that may help you with this section of the book. But without further ado, let's get into learning how to play piano. So the first thing we're gonna go over is posture and technique. We never want to have a slouched back at the piano. We also never want to play with flat hands. So when you're at the piano, first make sure you are the correct distance away from the piano. So an easy way to tell if you are far enough away is to stick your hands out and make fists, and if it hits the fall board, so right above the keys, then you're right at about the right place. You don't want your bench too close or too far away from the piano because this is going to make it a lot harder to play correctly. You want to be sitting about in the middle of your bench, so not all the way at the back, not all the way at the front. Always make sure you keep nice relaxed shoulders while you're playing. You don't want to tense up, and keep a good round hand shape. So this is kind of a good round hand shape, and you want to play on your fingertips. So this means the bottom part of your finger. Make sure, especially if you're a girl and you like having long nails, I'm really sorry to tell you, and this is my least favorite part of piano, but you cannot have long nails and play the piano correctly. They're going to click on the keys and be really obnoxious for one, and you're not going to be able to have the correct hand position that you need to be able to do the techniques that we use on piano. So keep your nails relatively short, and that will help you a lot. Always remember to play on your fingertip. So your whole finger should be curved. You don't want to bend here at your knuckle, but then go back like that, if that makes sense. So we always want to have a nice like round, like you're making a circle there. Never drop your wrists while you're playing. You always want to keep them up, not dramatically high, but just in line with your arm so that it's not resting on the piano, because that's gonna, again, make it really hard to play on your fingertips and keep that round hand shape. Now that we have gone over how to sit and play at the piano, we are going to talk about letter names on the piano. So on the piano, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So it goes in order of the alphabet to G, and then we start back over at A. It is a continuous pattern all the way up the piano. It never changes. So go through your piano. This is a good spot to pause the video. Go through your piano, play all of the A's, play all of the B's, all of the C's, so that you can get a feel for where every note is on the piano and start getting that down in your muscle memory so you know where the notes are. Always remember, Our lower sounds, or going down the piano, will be to the left, so down here. Our higher sounds, or going up the piano, is to the right. So if you ever see something that says go down or go up, you know which way to go. So now we are going to get into reading the notes on the staff. So we already know what letters we have. Now how do we find them on the staff line? We're going to start with the treble clef. So this is the treble clef sign, and it means to play with our right hand. Yes, there are times where the left hand will play in the treble clef, or the right hand will switch to another spot. But for the most part, we know that if we see treble clef, we're going to play with our right hand. So a staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. A line note will be a note that is on the line, so the line is through the note. A space note is when there is no line through the note. Remember, we're just going in order of the alphabet, and every note on the staff is a different note on the piano. So for example, we're going to start with middle C. This is our middle C on the piano, which is right here. If I see this note on the staff, I cannot play any other C on the piano because this is the only one that it is showing is that note. This is a really good guide note to start with. Memorize where middle C is, and from there you can literally find about any other note, because remember, it's just going in order of the alphabet all the way to G, and then we just start over at A. So I'll show you a few more notes on the staff. We have C, D, E, F, G. Then we start over with A, B, C. Now we're going to talk about bass clef. So this is our bass clef sign. It tells us to play with left hand. Again, there are exceptions to this, but most of the time when we see this, we know that we're going to use our left hand. So the bass clef staff is the same as the treble clef staff. We have 5 lines, 4 spaces, but these are different notes. So they're going to be lower on the piano. I'm going to start with showing you middle C in the bass clef. So you will notice that it looks a little bit different than it does in the treble clef. That's because in the bass clef, we're basically going backwards. Because if you think about it, if we have the treble clef here and the bass clef here, middle C is going to be at the top of the bass clef, but it's going to be at the bottom of the treble clef. So middle C in the bass clef is the same thing as middle C in the treble clef. It just looks a little bit different depending on which hand they want you to play it with. So remember, regardless of whether you're in the treble staff or the bass staff, if you're going down the paper, so you're counting notes down the staff, you're counting backwards in the alphabet. So instead of it being A, B, C, it would be C, B, A, because we're going down, which is backwards on the piano. Down your staff lines is going down the piano. So that's the equivalent of going left on the piano. If we're going, our notes are stepping up on the paper, they're going up the piano. So again, to the right. So this is our bass C. This is the next C down from our middle C. And from here we can go C, D, E, F, G, just to show you a few notes on the bass clef. And hopefully you're starting to get a grasp for where the notes are on the staff. The last thing we're gonna go over for this lesson is note values. So now that we know the letters on the staff, how do we know how long we're going to hold each letter? How do they show us which letter to play on the piano? So we have different notes for that. So the first note we have is a quarter note. This one gets 1 count or beat. Then we have our half note. This gets 2 counts. So if we're playing for example, if I'm going to play a quarter note, I would play them like 1, 2, 3, 4, because they only get 1 beat. I'm not holding them for longer. Always remember, when you're counting, stay consistent with your counting. Don't hold them like 1, 1, 1. Make sure you're keeping a steady beat, which we will talk about later in the lessons. You don't need to worry too much about that right now. If I was going to play a half note though, I would hold it for 2 beats. So I'd count 1, 2, 1, 2, because it gets 2 beats. And the third note we have, there are obviously a lot more, but these are the 3 we're going over in this video, is a whole note, and this gets 4 beats. So if I'm going to play this one, I'm going to hold it 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is all for today's lesson. I hope you have found it helpful and informational. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to let me know. Again, the pages for this, if you are following along in the book, is pages 4 to 19. You can practice this at whatever pace you want. I will be uploading more videos to hopefully get through this entire book. But if you are not following along in the book, this video has just gone over all the basics you need to start reading sheet music. Don't forget to check out the videos that I have linked in the description and the iCard because these will help you with your practicing and strengthening your skills. I hope to see you again very soon. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss our next video, and I will see you very soon.